All right, so I have this second thing here. You probably know the drill. Click add a section, add content, intro to, start with a blank template. And I'm going to put, I like to play the drums. This is another little fancy kind of JavaScript thing, plugin that I threw in there. So don't worry about that. If you want to know how to do it, let me know. I'm floating it left. Yep. Okay, cool. And I'm going to save a step. Maybe not. Click the gear icon because I'm going to add an image to it, right? Add an image, and I have intro to here. Takes a second to load. By the way, when you're uploading pictures on Squarespace or any website, try to keep them as lightweight as possible. Lightweight meaning the smaller the file size, the better, because that's going to mean that your site's going to load faster. We've all been to that site that takes forever to load, and it's usually because of big fat files. All right, cool. Let's do the same process, right? I want to make this. What do I want to make this? I want to make a heading 1, right? And it's okay because it's its own page. This is the only thing on the page. It's not, these aren't on the same page, right? These are separate pages that are glued to an index. I'm going to add a spacer on the top and a spacer on the bottom. And then I'm going to add one to the right as well, right? So I have a spacer here, here, and here right now. I'm going to click this one. I'm going to drag it until I see that line right next to the text. If I put it here, it's on the right side of that spacer, the text, and the bottom spacer. I want it just next to this thing. And again, you can drag it left and right, won't affect it because if I go all the way over here, it will affect it because the spacer is crunching that text all the way to the left. Okay, and I'll click save. All right, we're getting there. Got to bump these up a little bit. Any questions so far? Feel free to type them in there. I'll definitely answer them. I know this is dry, but I hope I'm not missing anything. I hope this is all pretty straightforward so far. Okay, what's next? One more of those intro banners. So this is a good opportunity to show you how to duplicate a page, right? I kind of want something very similar to this, right? Where I have a banner, I have text on the right. I don't have to do that spacer crap again. So I'm going to hover over intro. And you can do this with any page, any blog post, any event, right? You can, and any product, you can duplicate it so that you can build like you can spend a lot of time making one thing look good. And then if you want everything to look similar to that, you can pretty much just copy and paste it by doing this. You click the gear icon, click duplicate page, right? Are you sure you want to duplicate this? Yes, I do. It's going to throw it in the not linked and it's going to call it copy of whatever it is. This is important. If I leave it like this, my URL slug is going to be this page. It's going to be copy dash of dash intro, right? I think it makes it like intro 2. I want to make sure that it's called intro 3 on the URL slug without having to change it. So I'm going to do it from the very beginning, intro 3. Check the, so you'll see the page itself is an exact copy of the original version. It looks weird because it's not an index. And then we go into the settings. Look, so intro 3-1. It says -1 because the original one I copied was intro-1 because I created it twice. But then I want to fix it from the very beginning. So when I link to this, if I ever do link to it, it's not broken. All right, cool. Click save. It's in not linked right now, right? It's not going to show up in my index because it's under not linked. No one can see this unless they have the link to it. I'm going to drag it up into the index, right? You can see the index is all connected right here. I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. All right. And now you'll see that the only thing in my navigation is welcome, right? Because the only item in my main navigation right here is welcome. If I want to expand it, you can expand it like that. And okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. What do I need to do? I need to change the banner image. Oh, I'm still on. That's another thing. If you're in an index, you got to make sure that you're editing the actual content of the page, not the entire index. So I have that light bulb. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to click add an image. Intro 3. That's it. Cool. Takes a second. I think this is actually kind of a big file, so I should shrink it down. But it's kind of cool. Squarespace actually creates 3 separate sizes of every image that you put on there. So it's going to load a different one for when I visit as on a phone than when I visit as a computer. All right, I'm going to edit this text. I promise we're going to get to the fun stuff, which is designing it later. So hopefully you're building your own site in the background while I'm doing this. Okay, let's call this, but mostly to build great websites, great ideas. That's a fact. I really do. Okay, you see that there's 2 different types of text here, right? You could probably guess what's going on. This is an H1 and this is an H2. So I'm going to click return, which by the way, this is a cool trick. If you want to do a line break and I click return, it's going to add space between here, right? And it's going to change the type. I can change whatever type I want. I can make this a heading 3, which looks the same as a heading 1 for some reason, heading 2, or again, a heading 1. But if you want to do a line break on any of your text and not skip a line, but keep it the same kind of thing that you want, you click shift return or shift enter, and then that makes a line break without that space in between. However, I can't change this now to something different because it's connected to the previous block. So I have to hit shift return instead of, or return instead of shift return to be able to change it to a heading 2. And I'm going to change these to make them look like this later. Um, check out a few my most recent projects. Okay, and then I have that little arrow or like the hand icon that I thought was cute. Some people might not. I like it. To add that, at least on a Mac, here's how you do it. You can go into your settings and show this keyboard display in your top deck. You click that, and then you can change what keyboard you're using. You can use Unicode hex input. The main one is the show emojis and symbols. You have to actually add the language. I'm not going to go through that. You can do it on your own. If you have issues, let me know. And then it brings up actually like every emoji that's on an iPhone, right? You can search for them. You can add these to web pages just like this. I like these arrows, right? So there's that hand icon right there. Double click it, and there it is. Pretty cool. All right, let's click save and keep going.